Hey guys, Steven and Zach here interrupting the beginning of this week's episode because we've got the biggest announcement you could imagine right now.
That's it, guys. It's finally happened.
Steven's
The big news. I am late.
Steven's with child.
I'm late.
No, but
for a
Steven,
very
what is it
important
really?
date.
Tell all these people.
We get to have a little chat with the one, the only Jeffrey Madeline Winger.
It's Tobias, but good try. Yes, this is true. We, for real, Zach and Steven, two
this is not a bit.
Two nobodies from the middle of Indiana got to interview Joel McHale, Jeff Winger, the star of the show that we all love so much, that we're all here because we love it. We got to have an awesome chat with him, and it will be next week's podcast. The men that you're about to listen to in today's podcast of Basic Rocket Science did not know that this was going to happen yet, did we?
Mere boys. They had not yet had their extended interview cherry popped yet.
Yes, and we had no idea. So all throughout this week's episode that you're about to hear, which is a good one, I'm glad you're tuning in, is going to have no mention of it. We're going to talk about next week's episode being Messianic Myths and Ancient Peoples. We recorded this before our winter break, and then all of a sudden during our winter break, 3 days before Christmas, boom, we were hanging out with Joel McHale. So
Papa Joel.
We're letting you know, next week is not going to be Messianic Myths and Ancient Peoples. It will be a full interview with the man, the myth, the legend, and the true gentleman, Joel McHale. I hope you're hyped for that, and I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Steven, do you have anything to add?
Skiddly-doo.
All right, skiddly-doo, indeed. Let's get started on this week's episode. Press play, you magnificent son of a bitch.
Click.
Great job. Let's go. Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for pressing play on another episode of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. Before we get started today, let's just talk about a couple of the things that we have set up for you guys.
Yeah, guys, feel free to send us your trivia, your favorite funny moment, and your MVP from next week's episode over to can'tdisappointpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys and have you stump us on some trivia.
For the full Zach and Steven experience, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Can't Disappoint Podcast, and Twitter at You Can't Disapod for all of the fun shenanigans we get into off pod every week.
Wax on, wax off pod.
We're really thankful that you guys are listening to us, and I promise to keep whatever that was to a minimum. Now, I say let's kick off this week's podcast. What do you say, Steven?
Blue Skidoo Weekend 2, Zach. Let's dive in.
All right.
Oh, God. Glad we did 2 takes, Zach. You got a lot to work with there.
Thrusters.
Full.
Thermal shield.
On.
Navigation.
3.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Ready?
Ready.
Supper time.
Let's just do it then. Welcome to You Can't Disappoint a Podcast. We had a really great intro started, but then Steven said something very racially insensitive.
Yeah.
So
Not the first time, far from the last.
So we're just gonna start cold because that wasn't the way to do it. Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope you're having a great week. I didn't even say this as we were prepping. This is gonna be after the week after Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Merry
we're recording
Christmas.
right now comes out. So
Happy
wherever you
Hanukkah.
are right now, it's recently after Christmas or whatever collection of holidays you've celebrated recently. I hope they were great. I hope you enjoyed our Christmas special last week. I hope it put a little bit of glee-spirited tinsel.
I hope it really put a little bit of coal in your stocking.
Oh, yeah. I hope you had fun. I hope you had a great holiday. And now we're back to the cold truths of reality. It's the last You Can't Disappoint a Podcast of 2020, people. What's up?
Yeah, it's what a year it's been.
The end of our first year of podcasting. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
If
beginning
you
of this
don't know,
year started very differently from how it ended. Yeah. Is that
yeah,
safe
it
to-
started and I was like, wow, I'm real hungover. And then a couple months passed, and next thing I
Now
knew,
I'm
I
really
was
hungover.
Yeah.
The first month of 2020 was my birthday, and then in February we went on a huge vacation, and everything was looking good, and then everything went really crashing down. But then
the
we
Fire
started this
Nation
podcast,
attacked.
and now we've been doing it for over half a year, and that's a pretty cool thing to end the year on and start the next one on, I say.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's been a learning experience, and sure, we still have nowhere but up to go. But I think it's safe to say that it's a good year capped off, a good year of podcasting.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's
Put a fork
cook
in
it,
it.
bag it
This
and tag
year
it,
of
boys.
Content is ready to go. How are you doing, Steven?
I'm good. How are you, Zach?
I'm good. We didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Zach, and you guys have been podcasting in slow-mo?
Constantly. Feels like it, at least. I'm Steven, and those aren't thumbs.
I knew it. Shout out, as always, to our community, Papa at Communities on Twitter. They're a great collection of fans and fan content and podcasts, and you should check it out if you haven't already on Twitter. I hope they're enjoying the Christmas gift that Steven and I put in on together, the audiobook of Wesley Snipes' autobiography. I hope you're liking it.
Yeah, I know he's maybe a little anti-government for you, but he's gonna maybe he'll open your mind.
Oh, I hope your holidays were great. We're back. It's over now. The year's almost over, although I'm slightly concerned that it's not actually ever going to end. I think we're going to come back next week, and it'll just be 2020 still.
I saw this meme that was like me at 12:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and then it's like the clock like changes and it's 13/1/2020, like the 13th month, and I was like, that'd be awful.
It's
but
weird
not like that.
People attribute things to years because it's just a measurement of time. It's not like 2021 is probably going to start the same that 2020 ends.
It's gonna be bad too.
Yeah, and it's not like it was that great before. It certainly got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere to go but up from here, people, both on the podcast and in the world at large. This week, we're here to talk about the 4th episode of Season 2 of Community, a real, I don't know if it'd be in the Mount Rushmore of Community episodes, but it's sure in the, I don't know, what can we attribute a larger group of episodes to? A slightly larger group than Mount Rushmore.
On the extra large deluxe pizza
It's certainly
of
the
Community.
What's it called? The unnamed soldier.
A monument?
Is it,
like
or
the
whatever,
tomb?
the wall that has just names all over the wall. I don't know. The
Like for all the people that
9/11
died?
tribute
Memorial?
of Community episodes.
There we go. This is the.
I think it's like in a top 20 or 25.
It's
certainly
pretty freaking good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It was directed Basic Rocket Science. I don't know if I said the title of it or not. It was directed by the great Anthony Russo, and it's the first writing credit of Andy Bobrow, who has 8 writing credits throughout the series. He wrote a lot of good ones, and he's done a lot of other good stuff. He was previously a writer on Malcolm in the Middle, and after Community, he's done stuff like The Last Man on Earth, and currently
really like that
the
show.
animated Fox show Bless the Hearts, which is kind of like a King of the Hill-esque cartoon, kind of in the vein of like The Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, perhaps. And it's very entertaining as well. He's done a lot of good stuff. And he also wrote the Pillows and Blankets episode.
Nice.
So, come on. It originally aired on October 14th, 2010. And boy, oh boy, was it one heck of a 20-minute episode of television, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
a lot of really funny stuff, and a lot of pretty like. I'm gonna be honest with you. I forgot that this was the butt flag episode.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and it fits so well as this episode. And it's
Yeah.
such a great thing that then just became a huge part of Community lore that literally was the school's flag forever, like he says.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at whatever you're listening to this on, you'll see our really cool logo that pays homage. to the anus.
We sure would like to replace that logo with an original piece of artwork. We have some ideas involving some animated likenesses of Steven and myself. And if you or someone would be interested in commissioning something like that for us, hit us up.
Yeah,
we'll pay
slide
you a
those
pretty,
DMs.
I don't know.
Picture.
Let's call it
of us.
$6.50. But for real, if you're interested and you want to get weird with us, hop in the DMs somewhere. I would really like that. How have you been since we last talked, Steven? What have you been doing the last couple days?
Let's see. I've been working a lot, but in the time that I have been working, I finished a show that I've been watching that was really a fun watch.
Okay. Home Improvement, starring Tim Allen.
Exactly. Actually, not so far from that. There's a lot of engineering in this show. It's called Dr. Stone. It's basically, Cliff's Notes for anybody who may want an anime recommendation, especially if you're into science, geology, or just anthropology in general, actually.
Anthropology.
Yeah, but...
Anthropology.
But basically, something happens, and every person in the entire planet is turned to stone. And then the first guy that kind of breaks out of the stone and comes back to life is this really, really wicked smart high school age guy. And he's like a genius, and he has a great understanding of all the sciences and all that jazz. And so basically he sets out to kind of speed run civilization and move through science quick enough to revive everybody in the world and go from the Stone Age to modern technology as fast as possible. And the show contains all super accurate science, so you learn a lot about chemistry and things like that. They actually put a disclaimer in every episode saying, hey, this is real,
hard.
so please don't do it. Yeah. But it was a really, really awesome watch, and season 2 starts next year. So
say one more time what it's called.
Dr. Stone.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So check that
out.
Really
cool.
Where do you watch it?
Crunchyroll. It's also on Funimation and probably Hulu, if I guess.
Cool.
But for sure on Crunchyroll.
So anyway, let's focus on today, though. Let's focus on now. Basic rocket science. Trivia questions.
Now.
What have you got, my friend? I almost struggled gathering trivia questions from this episode for some reason, but I ended up with 4, actually. I came up with 2.
I, for once, actually have 4 myself as well.
Then go on ahead, pal, and take the first one.
All right, I'm starting you off with a real
Get me
zinger.
started. I'm ready to be zinged.
What words make up the acronym Sanders?
Oh, my God. I knew someone was going to do this, and I don't know all of it.
That's okay. You know any of them?
Is it space?
No.
System.
Yeah.
And analyst?
No.
No, just tell me. I'm sorry, guys.
Systematic Android Network Diode Energy Rocket System.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that, except maybe the last 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, friends. Steven, how many light years out of the Buttermilk Nebula are the crew when Troy reports to the Dean?
Is it 4,000 or 14,000 or 44,000?
Maybe this is another one of those cases where I'm wrong, because I thought it was just a clean 40.
It's probably just 40.
We'll keep tabs on that.
We'll see. I knew there was a 4 and at least 1
sure.
0. So, it's one of those. What is Shirley's navigation station set to?
On?
No.
I don't know.
3.
Okay. Well, then you tell me, what is the recipe, piece number, and flavor heading when Troy confirms those 3 things to Abed via radio?
Okay. Original recipe.
Yeah. Piece
6
number.
Piece.
Yeah. Flavor heading.
It was on tasty, but it needed to be turned to delicious?
Yes, and I watched him summon that information. I watched
that
Steven
was great.
make that happen.
Yeah, I just manifested that. I
correct.
relived the 5 seconds of episode that
You're
I watched.
You're doing well on my questions so far, and me not so much on yours. Let's see.
That's okay. I think you'll get this one.
Okay.
What name did the Dean give to the group once they returned in the simulator?
The Greenstronauts.
Yes, the fabulous Greendale Greenstronauts.
Sure. What does Pierce yell as he stomps down on Sanders?
Oh, shoot.
As he's stomping down on him.
He does say something. I don't remember what it was. It was funny.
He says, "Get off my mommy. I'm
there we
her
go.
man."
I'm her man. Do you think that's because his dad looks so much like Colonel Sanders?
That's in the commentary. They mentioned it. That's absolutely what.
Yeah,
they were
I know they
trying
haven't
to do.
shown him yet in the show, but yeah. Nice. Okay, what was the name for the KFC space promotion?
Like just how it was the Kentucky Fried Chicken 11 spices or 11 herbs in space experience.
Hey, you got it! Bingo!
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
And my last question for you, Steven. What tasty KFC brand sandwich is Chang enjoying?
It's not the Doublicious burger.
That's
it's like,
absolutely what it is. It's not a burger, though.
the Doublicious sandwich.
Doublicious is exactly... Are you familiar with the Double Down?
No.
The Double
Wait,
Down...
is that the one where the bun was chicken?
The Double Down is a glorious KFC creation. A sandwich with the bun made of 2 original premium crispy chicken fillets. I think like 6 strips of bacon in between, like 2 pieces of cheese, and like a special sauce. And you laugh, but it was tasty, and you know it was tasty. And it hurt really bad afterwards. But you know what? F*** you. I'm glad I tried it.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, KFC. Is your cholesterol not high enough? Come on down to KFC. Are you tired of having a perfectly functioning heart and artery system? KFC, come on down today. Do you miss slavery and really want a plantation-like man to loom over you while you eat? KFC. Thank you.
KFC. It's not a heart attack. It's fried chicken. KFC. The Doublicious sandwich referenced in today's episode of television program Community is kind of the same concept as the Double Down, but more like an actual sandwich where it's got King's Hawaiian bread.
Now, I fucks with King's Hawaiian rolls.
Premium crispy chicken fillet, the same sauce and bacon and cheese.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure if you still go to a KFC, at least you could like 5 years ago, you can say, I want a Double Down. And they'll say, sir, we're not allowed to do that anymore. Like, no, I know you have the things. I know you have all the pieces. I know that you hold it within yourself the power to harness, will, and create a Double Down sandwich for me. And they'll say, okay, I can. I'm turning the key. I'll press the button. But are you certain that you want to do this to yourself? You will feel bad. And I said, do it. And a large Mountain Dew.
Oh, no.
I think you can still do that. Tell them Zach from You Can't Disappoint a Podcast sent you.
Tell them Zach sent you. Do they still have, what was that thing? It was like mashed potatoes and corn and mac and cheese or something. And chicken. Yeah, they just threw it all in a bowl. I rock with that because I like to just mix all my food anyway. But
I don't really eat KFC that much, but there is on occasion where some fried chicken... and like fast food, greasy fried chicken sounds good. Like once every other month, maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm a big
though.
Fried chicken fan. Oh yeah, Popeye's heavy.
This podcast is going to end with me eating fried chicken somewhere. Mm-hmm. I've talked about it enough to want it now.
Yeah, I know. I kind of have a hankering.
Anyway, did we go through all of your trivia questions? We went through all of them.
Yes.
So let's move on to everyone's favorite segment. Second favorite segment, listener questions. What have we got this week, my friend?
All right, the first email is from Mira. Hi, guys. This was actually one of the episodes I first saw scenes of, and the second episode I watched all the way through before I started binging the show on repeat.
Okay.
My MVP for this episode is probably going to be Abed, both because of his deep disappointment in not getting to go on the simulator, but also because it was... his disturbingly in-depth knowledge of the simulator that actually guided them through. Mm-hmm. Also, his deadpan interactions with the Dean in this episode kill me. Mm-hmm. Great Abed episode.
You know, I don't think Abed is my MVP for this episode, but he's a good option. It shows that quite a few characters in this episode are treated very well.
Definitely. Okay, trivia. Who was Pierce listening to on his phone/iPod?
It was Wesley Snipes' audiobook. Mm-hmm. Blade, as he prefers.
Blade! It's so great to be back on the show, Zach.
It's a callback.
It's a callback! When we see the map, how many locations are circled? It was like 3 or 4, right?
Like the little ones, the restrooms and stuff. I'm watching it on a DVD. It's 160p. I could only see the big circles that the Dean drew.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of looked for it.
How many thumbs did the truck stop near the location have? And that's 3.
3. Which is it out of 5? Is it a 2 thumbs up
or
situation?
is it like
and it got an extra thumbs up? Like
I was almost thinking that like there is no top, right?
But also,
like,
it's
we're
not
just gonna
thumbs.
Keep adding.
So
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like you add one each time.
It's like tally marks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
More like
so
tally-whacker marks.
It's not a rating scale. He doesn't care which one it's from. He just knows where they all are and how many times he's been. Sure,
exactly.
For medical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the question?
Yeah. What does Pierce stream when he was destroying the monitor? Get off my mommy, I'm her man, I believe is the quote, right, Zach?
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to recycle the audio of you saying that and keep it for myself. That one's a freebie.
It's hard for her to pick a funniest moment in this episode because essentially it makes me laugh at so many points. Any interactions between our dean and the city college dean are always gold. True. Pierce's space madness cracks me up, and the little gag with Troy and the sticker gets me for some reason. I think it's because Donald Glover nails that line with both facial expressions and body language, as he does most things. Have fun with this episode, and hope you have a good holidays. Don't develop space madness, Mira. Thanks, Mira. Joke's on you. I developed space madness months ago.
Also, Donald Glover nails every line he says, so don't come at me with that. Mira.
Mira.
Sorry.
Audio listeners couldn't see, but I angrily shook my fist in the air. All right. Next up, we have an email from Communies. Hey, kids. Hey, it's almost to both of us this time. Zach, you can be included. Looking forward to your review of Andy Bowbrow's Chicken Bus episode. That's how he refers to it. Bowbrow. Bowbrow. Bowbrow.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara, manatee.
You're getting it right each of the. Oh my God, we're sneaking some Veggie Tales in this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know we were allowed to do that one. Oh my God.
The only trivia I'm just going to give you is that Andy first met Chevy on this set, and Chevy was Chevy, and Andy didn't let it bother him. Matt,
that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Questions and answers below. What does Abed use? What name does Abed use for the Winnebago? Is he talking about Kentucky?
Oh,
like
yeah. He's like, come back, Kentucky. Is that what we're talking about? Sure.
I think so.
Okay.
And then name of the town Jeff's GPS tells them they are left in.
Coldwater?
Coldwater. All right. Oh, we got both. Oh, Kentucky won and Coldwater.
Kentucky won.
Kentucky
okay.
won. Mm-hmm. I see. All right. It's semantics. All right. Nice. Thanks, Dad.
Next.
Next week. Oh, wow. Okay. Familiar face we haven't seen in a while. Anorak 07. Hey, guys. I'm back.
Steven's dad? Oh, wow.
Hey guys, I'm back. The last few weeks has been very difficult, and because of that, I didn't find time to send in trivia. But now everything has calmed down, so I should be able to send in trivia again. Yay, happy to hear that.
We truly did ask to ourselves a time or two. Anorak hasn't written in for a while, but it's not like you have an obligation to, so if you ever don't, but it's good to hear back from you.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you are well.
Absolutely.
We think MJ's gone missing.
Yeah, we had a falling out, creative differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got traded to Dom and Andre in the morning. Unfortunately, they pay him better.
Yeah, we just couldn't match that contract offer. I'm so excited for the second season because it's my favorite, and I am happy that I come back into the game with this episode. Cool. It amazes me what they did with the product placement, which is usually a downer for me when I watch something. But this episode is so genius with the way they handled it. My MVP this week has to go to Troy because he was the best captain to keep an arrow inside a moving rectangle. Honorable mentions to the Dean and Abed. As for my favorite scene, there's no other than the moment where they all just come out of the simulator and randomly start hugging people while epic music plays and everyone claps, just like in all those space movies. I also love Jim Rash's line delivery in this episode so much, but enough of that, let's get to trivia.
Let's do it.
All right, question 1. What is seen on the Dean's desktop background?
It's the Dalmatians. It's the two Dalmatians. Yeah. What else would it be? Come on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Rookie.
According to the sticker, how many light years are they outside of the Buttermilk Nebula?
I stand by 40 at this time. We will fact check
right.
throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with your one on this one. What is the simulator called by name?
Well, Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Steven's the one that knows what it stands for.
Yeah.
Can you say it without looking at your notes?
Systematic Android Network Diode something rocket system.
What's the R? No, E.
The E is what I'm missing. The E is energy rocket system.
Nailed
Nice.
it. We got
it. 10 out of 10. First try. That's it, guys. Looking forward to the next episode. Well, thanks, Anorak, for writing in. Thanks, guys, as always. You can send your emails to can'tdisappointpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, next week we will be back with our review of what's that episode called? I was second guessing myself.
The Jesus Abed episode.
Yeah, what's it called actually though? An Ancient Peoples, Messianic Myths and
Messianic
Ancient
Myths.
Peoples. We will be covering next week, and I don't think we can quite report exactly what's happening, but something
We have a
big is
special-
looking like it's gonna happen for that episode. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Next week is gonna be fun and different, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm both terrified and excited.
Yeah, as we always are when we record this program. But
Yeah.
but you'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Tune in next week. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into one of our latest and greatest segments. Let's see, everyone, if Steven actually watched the episode this week. It's a plot-heavy
I
episode,
should be able
perhaps.
to. Yeah.
Is he going to up his grade this time? I think, the first time you got a D, the second time I think
got
that
a
was
B.
nice and you got a B. Was last time a C?
Last time was a solid C.
Let's see if you can at least
I even got a
improve
B
upon
plus
C.
in the second one because I really did a
No,
solid job.
I don't think I've given any pluses.
All
That's
right,
for a
well.
special day. A B plus is for a special day.
A special day for a special boy. I am
Yeah.
neither.
Okay.
All right.
I'm resetting my timer. Are you prepared? I will count you down to go. Are you one with nature? Are you
am
ready?
all
Don't
is
let
all,
us down,
Zach.
Steven. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so they made a butt flag, and the dean's like, and they're in trouble, but somebody snitched. They don't know who it was. And so they have to clean off this Winnebago that's really a space simulator because City College is getting a space simulator. So they have to clean it up, but they actually go inside, and they get stuck inside, and then it gets towed because Annie's a little narc, and she wants to go to City College. What's up with that anyway? And then they have to get him back, but Abed wasn't on the thing, and he really wanted to be, so then he gets him back. He's like, yeah, get home. He used to be a problem. And then they break through, and they beat the simulator, and they drove home because they're friends. They
That's
did it all
time.
together.
A couple of those last words need to be stricken from the record.
Okay, so the word together is gone. Or you can even take all, too, because they did it.
You did an adequate job at this today, Steven. You did an adequate job.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you got a lot of it. I don't think you mentioned Pierce's space madness.
I did not get to the space madness, no.
But outside of that, I'm struggling to think of anything you missed.
I didn't really talk about the dean a whole lot other than the beginning, but I did mention him.
Yeah, but he's more jokes than substance. Don't talk yourself down. I'm the one who does that. I think I'm gonna give today's performance an A-.
Wow, thank you.
I think that was a good one. You did a great job.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about that.
Don't get cocky.
Yeah, next week will be different.
Let's talk about funniest moment.
All
What
right,
made you
yeah.
laugh the hardest in this episode? There's a lot of jokes that work
There are a
in
lot
this
of
episode.
them. The thing that consistently made me laugh the hardest was actually the one where they were trying to see if they had cell service, right? And Pierce is
Sure.
like, "Oh, I do, but it's just that black guy
Sure.
who always has the wrong number." And then Britta tells him that it's an iPod and it's Wesley Snipes' audiobook. And then Pierce says that, well, he sure does hate government. And I thought that was very, very funny.
That is really funny. I think mine, honestly, Pierce made me laugh a lot in this episode. And I think it's got to be one of his freakouts in the episode. And so I'm torn between when he strangles Troy, because Troy's facial expressions are really great in that, and all of the study group trying to pry Pierce off of him. It's really over the top and funny. I'm torn between that and then in the end when he tells everyone, I think I'm ready to come out now. And the music in the background is triumphant and redemptive, and everyone forgives him and lets him out. He's like, I'll kill you!
I'll kill you!
They both are... I don't know which to pick between the two, but I think it's one of those.
Both of those are really good.
What did you think about the episode? Now that we're
I thought it was really funny. I liked it. You texted me and said this is like maybe the most Community episode of Community, and you're absolutely right. I mean, the circumstance that they're in is fantastical, but like not crazy. Like there's nothing, unrealistic necessarily happening, but they present it in such a crazy like way that it feels almost like you're watching like it's treated with the like gravity of like Armageddon or something like that, but at the same time it's just them trying to get a Winnebago back to their community college.
I think for some reason, and to myself even before going to watch it this week, I think it's one of the big homage episodes that we talk about the least.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the ones that works the most in the show's reality. And I really appreciated that about it. But also, if you squint, it's totally a space movie that they've recreated so well with the writing and the performances and the way that they use their sets to feel like something else, the way that the study room becomes like I don't know what you want to call it, but the room that's in every space movie where they're figuring out what's going wrong. And yeah, it's really great. You don't quite believe that they're in space, of course, but you almost think you're actually on the moon, or whatever they say. Or what does Leonard say when they're simulating?
Something about like that. Like you almost
feel like
you're almost not in
whatever.
space.
We'll get there in a little bit. I really like this episode. What do you think for you? How does it rank in the grand mythos of Community-themed episodes? Do you think it's one of the best of the best? Do you think it's one of the weaker links? What do you think?
I think it's in the top half.
Sure.
It's been so long since I've seen some of the, really great ones in this season and season 3 that it's like, it's hard for sure to put it at the top, but, I think this is one that definitely I'd return to and, watch.
Maybe that's something we can look at doing, God forbid, when the day comes that we're finishing Community, to do some bonus episodes like ranking all of the straight full episode themed episodes, which are the better ones and the worst ones. I think that would be fun.
Totally.
Yeah. One day we will die and this will end, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
but that day's not today. Just one of us.
Well.
Yeah, I really like this episode. I think it ranks pretty high for the themed episodes, but so many of the themed episodes do rank so high that I'm not sure exactly how it would even out. But I certainly enjoyed watching it today, and I stand by my statement that it's not my favorite episode of Community we've covered so far, but it's maybe the most Community episode we've had so far, and it's definitely probably in the top 5 of episodes we've covered so far for me. It might be number 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
I can actually tell you, I've been keeping a running ranking of episodes as we watch them, and we mainly reflect on them at the end of each season. But I have placed this number 4 overall in the series so far, just a step below Modern Warfare. So I did really enjoy this episode. I don't think it'll hold number 4 as we add some more of the big episodes to it. But yeah, let's dig into this thing.
Let's do it. Blue Skidoo. We can too.
What is your prowess with like space movies, space science, space media?
I like it. I think that there's a lot we don't know about space. I think that space is cool. I kind of wish that like, I don't know, the space program were still like a real thing and not just like Space Force, let's send cars into space type stuff,
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I wish that the focus were a little more on science, at least in the public eye, now. But I think that, space travel is something that can happen in the future. I used to really be interested in the idea of like light speed transportation and stuff like that. I think that's a cool concept that can be accomplished,
Cool. I have seen some of the classics, but I was never much of a science-y kid, never much of a sci-fi kid. So my space movies, I don't know, they've never been a favorite genre, but I've certainly seen enough to know how closely this episode mimics ones like Apollo 13 for sure,
yeah,
Armageddon. I don't know, what are some of your favorite pieces of space media? Like, I've never seen Interstellar or Gravity.
I think that The Martian is better than both of those.
I like The Martian a lot. I have seen The Martian.
I like The Martian.
Apollo 13 is really good.
I like Apollo 13. I like Armageddon is good. I don't know if you count Independence Day, but I like Independence Day.
I don't
that's
know
more
if I count
alien.
Independence Day either.
But in terms of just like being in space,
like astronaut movies.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other ones that I like.
Google's space movies. Star Wars? I like Star Wars.
I love Star Wars. Cowboy Bebop's in space most of the time.
So, the episode opens up with Dean Pelton, a man who has some striking resemblance to being like a young John Oliver, bursting into what has become a bit of a situation room at Greendale. I guess City College has a space simulator. And I really like the vibes in this episode just from the very beginning, the way that it feels different from your typical Community episode. The vibe of the dean in this scene is very like something like The West Wing, like a very serious like walk and talk kind of scene.
Yeah,
he's like, I know, get in here. And the dean's great throughout this entire episode. They're all really upset because it's so ridiculous that City College, a big rival of Greendale, and this is the first episode that really villainizes them the way that the series continues to. Yeah. We've kind of heard rumblings of the rivalry, but not like this. We get our first introduction to Dean Spreck in this episode as well. They have this space simulator that from the picture in the PowerPoint here doesn't look like anything crazy. It looks like a tent. Honestly, less impressive than the Kentucky Fried Chicken 11 Herbs in Space experience. It looks like literally a tent that you lay down on your back and there's like stuff projected maybe. Yeah. It doesn't look like there's near as much stuff to do inside.
No.
But they're all really worried about it. They think that this is going to cause so much attention to come to City College, and so many people are going to make their college choices based on it, that Greendale is going to go the way of the dodo and become purely a parking lot. And I just think that's so ridiculous and so funny.
It's hilarious that they're like, oh no, this other community college is getting a space simulator. We better do the same.
And not even that, like, Greendale, it's like not only do they have a space simulator, they had a space simulator first. So that's where I'm going.
It's the space race. Like, wow, they really prioritize their space simulator.
They're going to have an astronaut on their brochure, and Greendale is still using a foosball table as their marketing tool.
Now featuring foosball. Foosball's a fun game.
Foosball is fun, and Yale might be a great college, but do they have a foosball table prominently featured? Probably. You're right. I like the graphic he's created to show what'll happen to enrollment. That just blood
it's really
seeps
ominous.
Out from City College and covers Greendale as it becomes a parking lot. We get a first appearance here that's pretty noteworthy. One of the men on this table is a recurring school board member that, along with another school board member, kind of become the people that just show up whenever there's a problem that needs a school board solution. So it's very
the
good
one
to
who
see
looks
him
like
here.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
I don't know who that is, but sure.
He's the guy. He was in Law and Order: Criminal Intent, and on he was in Men in Black. He played an alien, I think.
Which one? The
gross one.
Yeah.
Who's like, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
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 Not Tony Shalhoub.
The Dean has a solution, though. They're going to be able to launch their own space simulator thanks to this vehicle that is just sitting around from being used in, I would imagine, the early 90s, late 80s, probably. Mm-hmm. They want to be the first college to pretend to put a man in space. And there just happens to be this Winnebago that is owned and operated and sponsored by the great people at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the episode is off to the races. Community does quite a few episodes that are noteworthy that are very heavily product placement funded. There's the Subway has several episodes.
Yeah, they do.
And in the final season, there's a Honda episode. And it's so genius that it's a show that's struggling, so they have to do some stuff like this to get extra money for some of their big off-the-wall episodes. But when they do it, it's almost just as much a joke on the company that's giving them money to do this as it is them doing it to get money. You know what I mean?
Literally. But, I mean, it works because now both of us are really wanting some fried chicken right now.
Yeah, but I might not go to KFC.
I don't know. I'll see what's on Uber Eats, whatever's fastest.
I made myself a really good breakfast this morning. I was really happy with it. I mean, not that good, like college freshman level good. I got a couple. I've been really wanting to try these Eggo pumpkin pie flavored pancakes. So I got those, and I popped a couple of those boys in the microwave. We've been cooking a lot lately. I haven't talked about it on the show, but we've been cooking dinner every day at home, and I feel like I'm getting good. So I'm just starting to use those skills. I had never, ever really done it before, and now I'm starting to use my cooking skills. So today I made scrambled eggs for the first time in my entire life. And it turned out really good. We've been using a cast iron skillet for everything. Nice. And it was really good in that. And I got some of those brown and serve frozen sausages.
Hey, those are great.
And I put some whipped cream on the pancakes. And that was my breakfast this morning.
That sounds like a delicious breakfast.
Maybe I'll go for some Kentucky Fried Chicken as a dinner.
That sounds like a delicious breakfast.
It was really tasty.
Nice.
Some coffee. Anyway, what were we talking about? Community?
Sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
We don't have breakfast, but if you're eating us...
didn't they make that, like...
You don't have breakfast, but where we're going, you don't need breakfast. I don't think they have breakfast.
I feel like they have, like, some sort of, like, little breakfast chicken sandwich thing where it's, like, fried chicken with, like, an egg. Am I imagining that?
Maybe
that was just a dream I had. Was that a fever dream that I had with KFC?
Maybe it's just a GoFundMe I started. I think the last thing you need is KFC for breakfast, America.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this vehicle that's been abandoned that's a space simulator from, like, it seems like it was the type of thing that would tour to different schools or, like, to different libraries. That kind of thing is like a community event called the Kentucky Fried Chicken 11 Herbs in Space Experience. And Greendale is in a position where they might be able to acquire this vehicle and pose it as a space simulator that they have before City College is able to unveil theirs. The dean says that the ship is in some pretty bad shape. It's got a lot of dirt and wear and tear on it. So he's sending a very talented crew to wash it, and it is our beloved study group. We cut from the dean to our study group slow-mo walking in semi-astronaut-esque jumpsuit things. Right. They're walking in slow-mo, and I really like that everyone's really selling that they're walking in slow-mo except for Chevy, who's just, like, taking a hobbled step at a time. And he's got can we stop walking in slow-mo is what Jeff says, I believe. Or I don't know who says it. But
I think it's Jeff.
But Chevy says, you guys are walking in slow-mo? Apparently when they filmed that, it was a Chevy moment because he would keep saying stuff like, that's not how you walk funny. This is how you walk funny. They're like, no, you don't have to walk funny. You just have to walk.
No. Trust me, this is how you walk funny.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when I was on SNL, Then we used to walk funny.
Back when I was Fletch, we used to. And we got another full theme song sequence. That's 4 for 4. It's got to be what we thought it was all along, and we just get the theme song every week from here on. That'd be great.
Speaking of 4 for 4, our episode today is also brought to you by Wendy's. Try the 4 for 4. Hey, you want to try this? No. Try the 4 for 4. Wendy's.
Person with flamethrower comes in. KFC, motherfuckers! KFC just murdered Wendy's live on the show.
Do you remember in our hometown there was that KFC that was like half KFC, half A&W?
That is still very much alive.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing other places?
They have a KFC buffet. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How long have I been gone?
I think it's always been there. It's over by Meyer.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that was still standing.
They have a buffet, and they just keep bringing out trays of chicken. And when you get the buffet, they ask you, like, which kind you like the best. So they'll, like, bring those. And they have, like, a bunch of sides, and they have salad, and they have dessert. And it's kind of gross, but it's also, like, what you're wanting it to be, you know?
Yeah.
And they'll even, like, stuff like mac and cheese and green beans, they give you a full container of it. And you go up to the counter, and they'll just keep giving you, like, containers of it.
Really?
Yeah.
How much is that?
Well, if you
mention
you can't disappoint a podcast at the register, it'll be the average price of $8.99, I believe, something around that.
That's really not bad for all. Is it an unlimited?
But I kind of remember it being expensive. I don't think it comes with a drink, and the drinks are kind of expensive.
It's okay, I'll bring my own.
I think when Lil and I would both go, it would cost like $25 almost. So like $12.
Okay. That track, it's all you can eat.
But all that to say, we got a full theme song this week, and it felt great, as it always does. If it wasn't made out of paper, it would get the Chevy Chase seal of approval, but unfortunately...
You know, it could be so cool if it just weren't paper and it were funny.
The set department, as always, really knocked it out of the park with the space chicken truck in every way, both from the outside, how the satellite has a bucket of chicken as like a receiver, to the inside and all of the details within. They did a great job. I love this shot where we see the top of the truck and the study group walking towards it as the dean stands in the middle. This is just such an iconic episode of Community. They did such a great job with the look of this episode, the feel of it, the music. I think this is the most we've seen of the dean in general.
I think
in this
so too.
episode. This is probably his biggest role, and of course I love that.
Yeah, it's really great because it just, I feel like maybe this is the season where it starts to kind of just have more and more Dean, because by the, season 5 even, I mean, the Dean is just such an integral part of everything going on.
In
and getting to see him kind of
6,
evolve.
The Dean is very much just as much a main character as anyone else is. Yeah.
Love it.
So this scene here, I guess the study group's being chosen to clean up this truck to pay for their winning submission in the Greendale School flag contest, which, as we discussed a little bit earlier, of course, is E Pluribus Anus, the beautiful butthole flag. It's such a funny joke, and it's such a funny visual that both looks completely wholesome and completely dirty. And they mentioned on the commentary that they were genuinely concerned that this was not going to get aired. That this was going to get blurred, or they wouldn't let them use the word anus underneath it. They were worried that someone would have a problem with this, but they didn't. They made it to air. And not only is this one of the most Community episodes of Community so far, this isn't like an FX show or an Adult Swim show.
NBC.
This aired next to The Office, and this episode is about Kentucky Fried Chicken space vehicles and a butthole flag.
It's
amazing that they got this on air, and that not only is it funny and daring, it's so original. Man, I love this show. It's a pretty good show. Have you ever thought about that? About how good of a show Community is?
It's all right. I'd give it at least...
I'd give it at least 3 thumbs up.
Yeah.
They're not thumbs, though.
Nope.
Okay, so everyone talks about the flag. The study group thinks it's really funny. I want to say that, so Jeff Winger isn't a big factor in this episode. So I really love that throughout the entire episode, Jeff is just down to be a part of it. He's not like fighting this experience. He's not acting like any of this is stupid. He's like in with the gang. And I really like that we're finally to this point in the show when Jeff can just show up, that he doesn't have to fight his way into it.
Yeah, he's pretty on board for the most part with the whole, thing. He takes him a little bit to get all the way on board with the space simulation, but he doesn't fight it too much, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Their flag submission won the contest, so it's going to be the flag forever. And I like how they were able to get it past Dean Pelton because they said something about it being like the crossroads of whatever. But it says anus on it.
It says anus.
I like anus. The first of many great Troyisms in this episode is, how do you know it was our design? Literally giving away that maybe they didn't for sure, and now you told them. Yeah, we submitted it anonymously. Whoops. Donald just... in another sitcom, that line could have been like, duh, we did that, but it's not.
Whoops.
Troy's a real person, a real character, and Donald plays him so tremendously funnily that it works so well. It's a mix of delivery, good writing, and just sheer ridiculousness of the situation.
His timing is just so perfect.
Absolutely. Some of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I like how also this episode's playing off of what we expect out of all of these characters now, because we've gotten to know them significantly past an introductory level at this point. And so when the dean says one of the group ratted you out, everyone has a good idea that there's a good chance it's Annie.
Yeah.
Everyone looks right at Annie, and the dean is just talking about how this vehicle is dirty, but it's going to be the pride of the school. It's a big deal, and he wants the study group to be prideful to help clean it up.
Yeah, this KFC space simulator. Well, of course, it's reserved for the best and brightest Greendale has to offer, who are training in the simulator, Zach.
But who's cleaning the inside of the truck? When they do go inside, it's filthy.
Well,
yes, but the people who will get to step inside the simulator are training in Greendale's patented simulator. And then we cut to, I'm so glad that they chose Leonard. It's Leonard in a cardboard box looking around. There's stuff on the box written like flux capacitor and 1.21 gigawatts, like some Back to the Future stuff. And Leonard's line is great. Hard to believe I'm not really in space.
He says while turning a paper plate painted like a steering wheel.
I bet Leonard Erdman, I keep wanting to call him Leonard. Richard Erdman was handed that script, that line, and was like, what the fuck is this? But then he delivered it like a champ, whereas Chevy Chase would be like, excuse me, hack.
I just don't get why this is funny.
Which goes to show that Richard Erdman should have played Pierce.
You think so?
I don't know.
Yeah. But I like Richard Erdman. That's the thing.
I don't know. That's true. So the dean leaves them the task and gives them the time that they need to be back for the pretend launch in front of the press, which is ridiculous as well that there are press members interested in something like this to the point that it's going to be a big announcement event.
Yeah.
And he leaves because he has to make the flag now. The dean holds himself so much. He's like, well, everybody voted on it, so we've got to pick this flag, when he very well could have just not picked it or picked another one that wasn't a butt.
Literally, that's all he had to do was be like, this one won, actually. That's not a butt.
Everyone's kind of admiring the truck from outside, and I like this interaction where Britta starts to say that in high school during field trips they would sneak inside of the bus to smoke weed, but realizes she's talking to Shirley, so she says that they're praying instead of smoking weed. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny, yeah. And Shirley's like, ooh, that's nice.
Have you ever done something like that? Not with smoking weed, but with something like you're starting to slip and say something that you shouldn't to someone because you're telling a story, and then you have to turn it around at the last second.
The amount of times I've been talking to my mom and started telling a story and then realized the story goes somewhere it shouldn't, and then abruptly ended it.
And then we went to church.
Yep. Yeah, definitely have had to end some stories early when telling them to my mother or grandmother, or even siblings too. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, something. I'd be like, oh. And then we sat and played video games for the next 8 hours.
And we didn't say or do anything.
Not at all.
I like the way this episode does several things to set up Annie's betrayal in this episode, because immediately they're here to start and she says, let's all go get coffee. Let's all take a coffee break. Come on, guys. Let's go away.
Yeah.
But, of course, everyone's interested in the truck, or at least, I don't know, maybe not interested in cleaning it, but at least interested enough in the concept of it to not leave right away. And of course, Troy and Abed, as soon as they see that, they're going inside, and that they have, this thing is tailor-made for them.
And I like what they did with the episode where, what ends up happening happens with the group and who is in the ship and who's not. But they could have very easily just had an episode where Troy and Abed, have a Patrick SpongeBob imagination-like time inside of the simulator. That would have been funny too. But I like where they did with it better. But
I'll go a step adjacent to that, where I almost feel like we're being robbed a little bit by Abed not getting trapped in the ship with them. Mm-hmm. I like what they did with him, but I think having Troy and Abed in there at the same time during this
would have been
crisis
incredible.
Would have been really funny. Which is why I really like this scene right here, where they've wandered into it and they're talking like they often do in space-themed movies, where the astronauts have this sense of wonder and of like, oh, I've always dreamed of this day. The place is exactly what I thought it was. And it's like Abed is the first-time astronaut, and Troy has a little more experience in this scene that they're doing. When Troy delivers, he's like, "Oh, you've never been up, huh? You've never."
Well, and I like this. It reminds me almost of the scene in Star Wars where Han steps back on the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and he's like, kind of looking around. And he sits in the seat, and he's like feeling everything, which is funny considering that Donald Glover is going to go on to play
Lando Calrissian.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Solo?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of good.
Yeah, I thought that Donald Glover did a great job in it as Lando. Some people were like, oh, he's too much of an asshole. I'm like, do you remember the original Star Wars? Because Lando is an asshole. He's great.
I thought Donald Glover as Lando in Solo was better than Billy D. Williams you know what I mean? Donald Glover as Lando in Solo was better than Billy D. Williams as Lando in Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, in Rise of Skywalker, yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. I thought you were saying in general, and I was like, all right, now let's...
One of the weirdest fucking things about that movie was that Lando's in it. They set up all this stuff with him. They introduce this girl that's almost definitely his daughter. And then when it's like the end of the movie and the two of them are sitting together and you think they're going to like say something or finally address it, it was literally, the scene was like, she said, I never found my father. And he's like, yeah, I probably have a kid. I never really found my daughter. And then they just don't say anything else, and then it cuts to the next goodbye. You know what I mean? I was like, what are you talking?
Yeah, anyway, I have some thoughts about that movie.
That movie was certainly not brought to us by KFC, or else it would have been of much higher quality.
Well, yeah. I like, though, the super cut that I've seen where they take the Kylo Ren scene where he's fighting the Knights of Ren, and they put I need a hero behind it. It was pretty great.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So Troy and Abed are doing their Troy and Abed thing, and I like that they still don't let it break the grasp of reality because of the reason Abed is saying he was never allowed in this and Troy was. It was like a field trip staple of people in this local area.
Yeah.
And Abed was never allowed in because his dad had a vendetta against like chain restaurants because they took down his falafel stand almost. So I like that aspect, that they keep it very grounded for how not grounded of an episode this is.
Yeah.
Annie comes into the vehicle, and it's really important for her to get everyone out. So she's trying to get Troy and Abed to leave, but they're so excited. And now at this point, since Annie has also gone in, everyone's going in, and now we're off. Jeff wanders in and is surprised that it looks decent for how old it is on the inside, and also points out the collection of doll heads in the front of the vehicle that... I don't know. What do you think the story is behind that? That someone was living in this and they had a shrine?
Yeah. And they like to collect doll heads in their time that they live there.
Yeah. Pierce gets one of many funny lines when he's like, oh, the 80s. Our teen years, right, everybody? And no one but Joel McHale can relate, right?
Yeah.
And it's really sad that Abed makes this choice. You know, he announces that he's not wearing the right thing for this, and he wants to get something from the dorm. So he leaves, never to be seen again. And then Abed died.
Yeah, this is actually a conspiracy that, Abed in this time was replaced by a different Abed, and then the Abed that was living with them from this point
That's
on is
why
not the real
on
Abed.
the DVD cover of the 3rd season, why Abed's barefoot and facing the opposite direction of the other Beatles, because he was dead and they replaced him with a lookalike.
Exactly. And then the Rick from the other dimension came back and replaced that Abed with his Abed.
And he's trying to get everyone out of the place still, and I like how now no one's really willing to pay attention to her at all, because they just are like, you're going to tattle on us like you did with the flag. They don't really take her seriously. And she kind of snaps on them, and they kind of snap on her, where she, I don't know, kind of defends Greendale when all the rest of them are trashing it.
Yeah.
Which I guess I get.
Yeah,
we knew people when we went to school like that, where we
did
all
know
talk
people
shit
who
about
really...
our school, and then other people would be like, "Our school does so much for me.
Yeah,
I'm a rich white kid,
yeah,
so I'm lifted up."
I was not a huge school. Now I will say it was fun in college going to homecoming and for a little bit, but
I think our school had some good opportunities and had some people working for it that really cared about all kinds of kids, but I don't know. It also had a ton of problems. I don't know.
Yeah.
There were just as many things from it that traumatized me for life as there were that inspired me.
Yeah. Almost a little heavier on one side than the other, but...
I really like Pierce's runner of being claustrophobic in this episode and the way that Chevy plays it throughout the episode. He's stretching out and talking about oh, this makes me a little nervous. I kind of get claustrophobic, but as long as I'm next to the door and it's open, I'll be fine. And then he, of course, presses the button to close the door and immediately freaks out a little bit. He's locked the place shut. It goes completely dark, and the simulator activates. And now we're in it. Now we're really in it. Sanders awakes. He's just this little 8-bit Colonel Sanders dude who gives them instructions from a screen.
I love that the whole time Pierce thinks he can talk to him.
Yeah, Pierce talks to him a couple times and never gets a response. First, they're all just looking for a way to get out. They're looking for a handle, but they're locked in.
Colonel Sanders points out that just as, KFC seals in the flavor and the herbs and spices, they're going to seal the air in the cabin so that they don't explode on their journey, which kind of, lets them know that shit's about to get real.
And then Troy says, "What does that mean?" I thought they did a really good job with the Colonel Sanders animation and making it look to date. And it made me remember the conspiracy theory that I've seen before that you can't unsee, is that the Colonel Sanders logo, when it's just a head, the bow tie that he has on, the way it's shaped, looks like a little legs and arms. So it looks like he's on a little body.
That's funny.
Do you see it?
Wait, I thought that's what that was supposed to be. I forgot that was just his bow tie.
It's bow tie, or
the whole time I was thinking it was a giant head on just a little.
It looks
little
like little legs and body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
The Colonel demands that they all find a seat and strap themselves in for a safe trip, which they all do once they kind of realize that this thing's about to start moving. But Pierce has this combative anti-establishment against Sanders from the first second throughout this episode that I think is really funny and indicative that he's going through some daddy issues, and Sanders reminds him of his papa.
Strikingly so.
As it starts thudding and rumbling and the doll heads start falling to the floor and it looks like this vehicle is starting to move, they all decide it's best to strap themselves in. And Troy gets to sit at the captain's seat, which I'm really thankful for in this episode. It would have been easy for them to have Jeff sit in the captain's seat, and I'm so glad it's Troy instead.
Me too. I don't think I would have personally enjoyed this one near as much if it were Jeff in the captain's seat.
I completely agree with that. Pierce takes...
Did you just threaten me?
Yeah, Pierce takes the suggestion to sit down and strap yourself in to be safe as a challenge. And he's just so combative towards the screen. And I like Jeff's line, if you're talking to an Atari cartridge. Pierce has no idea what that means or where he is or what's going on.
See, I like this episode for Jeff because he just gets to kind of sit back and crack funny jokes. It's kind of like you said in the last episode, the opening scene where he just was kind of like the cool guy who had the one-liners.
Without being the cool guy who also does shitty things to his friends.
Exactly.
The car starts moving, and they really believably sold that Pierce tumbling down thing as he hits his
it looked
head.
like he fell.
Well, he did. They mentioned on the commentary, not Chevy, but they said on this episode for some reason there were like 4 alternate Chevys. There was like his stunt guy, his stand-in, his body double, and like another one.
Why?
And Dan made a joke about like, yeah, and it was really weird when his wife left with all of them. So the vehicle starts moving, and they're not sure if it's part of the simulation or if it's actually moving. Jeff doesn't think it is, and he's right, because now we see the outside, and like Jeff can tell, the vehicle is being towed away. I have no idea what building they're outside of.
Is this the same parking lot that the boat was in?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Because it doesn't seem like it's the parking lot where like Jeff parks for like his car.
I guess it kind of looks like it could be a community college building.
It
perhaps.
Looks kind of like a film set, but
I mean, I'm sure it's a film studio. Yeah. Just as it pulls away, Abed runs out in a super cute orange astronaut jumpsuit with a helmet, and he has this really wholesome thing as he realizes that it's gone, and he looks both ways, and then he looks up as if it took off into the sky.
Oh, Abed.
I love that boy's sense of wonder.
Mm-hmm.
The gang, after the commercial break, is being pulled along the highway. They're stuck in this thing, and they're not really, I don't know, putting their head to the situation. They're just trying to break out in any way they can. They're all banging on the door, trying to get attention. Jeff is the voice of reason here and says, nothing's going to happen. This is just classic Greendale. It's all going to go awry. No one's got phone signal. It's just looking bad for the people. And this is when we get Pierce's bit about thinking he's talking to someone on the phone, but it's a black guy who, what does he say? Can't understand anything I'm saying or something
who has the wrong number.
Yeah, but it's Britta's iPod with Wesley Snipes' book. I Am Blade, the Wesley Snipes story.
Hey there, I wrote this book about me to say that I don't want to pay taxes because I'm Blade, and Blade is not a United States citizen.
Did Wesley Snipes actually get in trouble for taxes?
Yeah.
Because I knew you made a joke about that the last time we did this bit, I guess we'll call it, and I didn't know if that was real or if that was just something you came up with. Oh, yeah, that was real.
He got in trouble for that.
Damn. Is Wesley Snipes, has he done anything recently?
I don't think so.
Okay. Troy gets to have his first captain moment as he sits down, and, you know, there's that classic shot of the man in charge grabbing the doohickeys and pulling them back and down and around. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And apparently this exact, like, captain's set prop desk thing was something that's been used in a lot of things. Apparently it was used in an episode of Firefly.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's a little... Wow. That's funny. Because it looks so silly here because it's inside of a KFC simulator, but I'm sure if I was watching a show that, you know, didn't want me to think it was silly, it'd probably be like, wow, look at that spaceship controllers.
Yeah, Troy kind of fiddles around with the 2 joystick-looking things and doesn't get anywhere. Everything starts flashing. He's not doing it right, so nothing happens. Everyone's kind of giving up. Annie thinks it's her fault, which the rest of the study group doesn't quite understand just how much it is her fault. Mm-hmm. Then they start getting through the radio Dean Pelton. I like that Dean Pelton's first reaction is that they're hoodlums and they're like going on a joyride. Bring me my spaceship back, he says to them.
Which absolutely is what I would think if I were the dean as well, that they just took it.
Also, it looks like the prop that they're using for the dean to talk to them through is literally what he uses to give the PA announcements. I don't understand the connection going on here.
I don't know how he has some sort of link to the radio inside of that thing that they just got and haven't used at all, but science. Watch Dr. Stone, you'll find out.
Troy's using a guidance system next to him to try to tell the dean where they are, but the thing that tells them that they're 40 light years, outside of the Buttermilk Nebula, is just a sticker. And I really like the way Donald says, the pause that he takes when he says, although it is possible. Yeah, it's a sticker. I think
it's a sticker.
Really funny. Jeff comes on to tell the dean he's terrible and tell him what's going on. It's that they're being towed away and they need help. So this becomes not a call out, but now all of a sudden the study room turns into that rescue mission workstation that so many of these type movies have. And the dean didn't know the handicap spots count on Saturdays, which is why they would have gotten towed.
And the dean, who tries so hard to be politically correct, apparently not when it comes to
being
to every group.
Yeah. There's a great telling Dean-Jeff interaction when Jeff says,
when we get back, I'm going to step on you.
As much as I might enjoy that, Jeffrey, if you don't get back here in time for the launch, City College wins. And Greendale becomes just another school on my resume that no one can call because it doesn't exist.
Saying that he's ruined schools in the past.
Multiple schools.
We do get in the future some history of Greendale, but I would have liked to have seen even more of that, I think, a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They have no idea to find out where they are to tell the dean so they can be found because they're in the simulator. There's no windows. Everything's closed off. They can't figure out how to open anything. There's just this one window that is sealed shut, and they don't know how to open it. And then they lose connection. But Abed, now I get why they did this for the story, Abed is in there with the dean, sitting sadly, and he knows everything about the simulator because I guess when he was a kid and wasn't allowed to do it, he learned about it and memorized it and dreamed for the day where he could actually do it.
Did you ever as a kid prepare, you either wanted a game or something or a toy, or you wanted to do something that you couldn't do at the moment, so you would pretend learn all about it?
I mean, probably.
Yeah, I can't think of any specific examples right now.
I think when I was a kid, a real little kid, I probably did that with stuff like wanting to go to Disney World. Pretending.
I got you.
Yeah, for sure. What about, you don't have an example?
I can't think of anything specific, but I definitely would imagine myself I don't know, playing with a certain toy or
Yeah, you'd imagine yourself, and this is me, not you. I'd imagine myself, having a dad that says he loves me.
I this kid stuff.
Just we're fine.
Back when you thought that stuff was a possibility to have in life. Then we learned as we got older.
And then you think, everyone that does have it is a liar. But, whatever.
Well, yeah. Aren't they?
So Abed is an expert on this ship, and he can give the information that he has to the dean to help relay back to the team and get them out of this jam. He lets the dean know that the window will slide open if they finish the thing, if they actually do the simulation. So we're going to have to get back in touch with the ship and let them know that they have to do this simulation if they want to find out where they are and get things back on track. I think it's a really good way to get the adventure of this episode started, the way this all comes together. It's so silly, but it's more in the realm of possibility than what I feel like I remembered it being. This is all super in the realm of possibility. It's just a really silly possibility.
It's crazy circumstances, but so far everything, could plausibly happen.
The episode does a great job of the stakes are both at an all-time high and as low as ever. It doesn't really matter, but the music's throbbing and you just feel like it's so epic, but it's not.
Right, nobody's in danger here,
So Abed agrees to team up with the Dean and they're going to bring that ship home. It's a really funny team up. I like the way that they do this, and it gives Abed a new sense of purpose after not getting to go with them. It's really sad then that as the dean leaves to get some coffee, he calls Abed psycho. Sure,
Yeah.
Abed's a little weird and earnest, but come on.
But I feel like even before this interaction, when we've seen the dean and Abed interact, the dean knows who Abed is and knows that Abed has, a skill set at least, or knowledge about stuff, because he asks Abed to do stuff for him in the past. So I feel like this is maybe a little not nice. I don't know.
A little
I don't
out of
think the
character.
dean- Yeah.
Now we're back to the ship, which is still being towed along the highway, and they're still trying to figure things out when Abed comes through the speaker. I don't know what would cause him to lose
gain.
connection and gain connection. Yeah, certainly. And this is where we get that little bit where Abed uses these panels that they have on the inside of the truck to find out how far in the simulation they are, to let them know what they need to do to finish the simulation. So there's a recipe reading. They're on original, but it could go to extra crispy.
Mm-hmm.
There's the piece indicator if you go from like 6 piece to like a bucket or whatever. And then the flavor heading from yummy, tasty to delicious. It's very silly, and I love how seriously everyone takes it. And I like how literally to turn the dial, he just has to turn it. Sanders lets them know that they're doing it right. They're doing excellent work. They have to keep their herbs and spices balanced while the crew helps with the teamwork. All of a sudden, the team is coming in motion, and Troy is really becoming the captain that he's meant to be.
Yeah, he tells everyone to man their terminals, but as he's doing that, Jeff comes through with a
Fire hydrant?
I almost said fire hydrant. That's not what it is, though.
Is it not?
No, fire extinguisher. The hydrant's the thing in the ground.
Oh, you're so
I was about
right.
to say fire hydrant too, and then I was like, that's not it. With a
Damn.
fire extinguisher and tries to
At least we're
brace
on
the
the
window.
same brain pathways.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, Jeff isn't willing to put up with what they need to do to get out of here, which is typical Jeff. And he tries to smash it open with a fire hydrant, which doesn't go as planned, obviously. The thing is somehow indestructible. You would think that thing would smash. I love how Pierce, who's freaking out in his confined space, that whatever Chevy decided was the right way to bring this through was for Pierce to be going gooby dooby, and I don't know why he's working on his SNL era Adam Sandler impression right now.
Right?
But it's really not the right time.
He said, no, it's funny. Trust me. You guys don't understand comedy. When I was on SNL.
Pierce thinks they're all gonna die as Jeff's trying to smash his way out of a moving vehicle. And Sanders can tell that the team isn't manning their stations. They need cooperation. They need to all work together to keep the herbs and spices balanced. God, I want some fried chicken, Steven.
Yeah.
Lee's chicken or Popeye's chicken?
Oh, Lee's is. I miss Lee's chicken so much.
Mm-hmm.
Fried pickles from Lee's. Ooh.
I love fried pickles. Oh my God.
Fried pickles, and like I apologize to my mother and sister who are listening to this. Cover your ears.
Yeah.
Fried pickles give me a warmth through my body like nothing else. Like I get real excited at the thought of fried pickles.
Wait.
I think it's like when I
Wait,
bite
no,
in.
I'm more concerned. Why is that the time you've apologized to your family on what you're about to say?
I don't know.
That wasn't offensive at all, I don't think. Was that offensive?
I don't know, but like when I bite into it, like the
Oh,
transition
you're telling them
between,
that
like-
you like it better than them. That you get a
not-
warmer feeling than what family gives you, is what you're saying.
I mean, it's close.
No, you said a warm feeling like nothing else
Like
makes you-
nothing else. Man.
Yeah, fried pickles, huh?
Oh,
Now I can't go to KFC because they don't have those.
no.
Now, did you ever try the Popeyes chicken sandwich?
Oh, yeah. I get it on a regular basis.
Spicy, right? You get the spicy.
Exclusively.
It's really good. It makes me feel very bad afterwards. The Popeyes
Yeah.
spicy chicken sandwich was the first food that I knew was going to give me indigestion every time I eat it, that I still had it regularly for a period.
Well, see, I like to punish myself by eating exorbitant amounts of White Castle in one sitting. So I've done enough terrible things to my body that the chicken sandwich is just pretty run-of-the-mill bad, you know? But like if I knock down a 20 sack of sliders in a night,
Oh
I
my
might as well
God.
just go ahead and sign off the whole next day because my dance card is full.
Oh my God. It's exactly reasons like this why Lil and I have taken to making dinner at home instead, because that's what it was like. And it would always be like, well, which food option that's going to make me feel terrible sounds best tonight? Yeah. And right now it's White Castle. Or not. Well, now it's White Castle.
Now it's White Castle,
I still
unfortunately.
think fried chicken is what it actually is. So the team's not working together, and they need to be if they want to make this happen. And Troy is taking his role as captain very seriously and tells Jeff that he doesn't want to hold his rank in front of him, but he needs to do his tasks. He's not doing his tasks, so the imposters are going to win. And Jeff says, the only reason you're the captain is because you sat down in that chair, so I'm not doing anything you say. I guess I was wrong, and Jeff is an asshole in this episode.
Briefly, yeah. This is the only asshole thing he does, though. He comes together. You know.
Pierce has a beautiful hallucination sequence that's in line with his drug trip from the season 1 Halloween episode, where Sanders starts talking directly to him and says, I'm indicating that Pierce is going to die alone. Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then
why is he saying that to me?
And this is true, all the reactions in the rest of the episode was just Chevy reacting to that information that he was going to die alone. Everything's building. They're trying to get farther in the simulation, but Pierce is going so off the wall that he's keeping stuff from getting done. And I like that. What does Sanders say that in Pierce, Troy is giving me life?
Oh yeah, you can't. I can't stop Pierce. Troy's giving me life force or supplying my life force or something like that.
Pierce just so certainly, I knew it. And
I knew it.
At Troy. A very funny moment as he starts to strangle Troy, and everyone immediately is trying to pull him off of him. I love every facial expression Donald Glover makes. He does such a good job here, and Pierce too. Chevy makes some funny faces. Meanwhile, the study room has turned into a whole widespread rescue mission. They've got manuals, and the manual says KFC 11 herbs in space operations menu instead of manual. Look at that.
What a nice touch.
And yeah, they're all trying to figure out how they're going to get these people out of this situation, and Abed can't get through to the team. I like how the little touch of Abed like snapping for someone to go over there and do something that just feels very much like he's playing out this role from the movies that he's slipped into. And
I love it when Abed is able to like adjust his role in the movie. Like he's like, oh, okay, I'm this character. It didn't
go the way he wanted, but yeah, he found a character that he can be that's necessary.
This is a great scene. Chang just wants to be included.
Chang doesn't get a lot to do in this episode. No. He just gets two really funny little non sequiturs, which is sometimes when Chang is at his best. He comes in with this really weird, professional, homemade looking thing and says, I've worked out a way to reroute the power from the battery. And Abed says, reroute to what? And Chang just slowly walks away. This is when one of my favorite bits in the episode comes up that we've made several references to. The Dean comes to the table with the map and says, this is where we are. This is how far of a radius the truck can get to before we won't have time to get back here in time for the big event tonight. And Abed, of course, notices that the Dean has several other things on the map that are circled.
What are these other circles?
What other circles?
Looks like you've circled public restrooms and truck stops. Yeah, there's another one.
Okay, that is a different side of the map, and that is for a different project.
Why do they have star ratings?
Let's get to work, people.
So I guess they have star ratings and thumbs. Maybe there's a star rating and tally marks of how many thumbs they've been there.
I gotcha. Yikes.
Abed gets back in touch with Kentucky 11, and they've stopped moving. And Troy is able to say that they've stopped moving, but things are going really crazy on the inside of the ship. Pierce has space... I like the way Troy says Pierce has space madness, or he's just old or something.
Yeah!
They're locking him up in the back, which they are. I really like the way that they thought that the place would have a cage in it and worked that into the episode. They're locking Pierce in the back. He's going crazy. They get him in and jump after. They said on the commentary that here when Chevy says, or Pierce says, you can't do that to me, and Britta says, we just did, that they said that Gillian was really like into getting to yell at Chevy.
That's great.
Annie tries to gather everyone together and get the team together, but they're all still against her for setting them up for failure with the flag scheme or whatever they're mad at her about. And then Pierce is trying to jimmy the lock with his 2 fingers. Oh, I didn't really notice that when I was watching
either.
it.
That's hilarious.
And Annie says something that lets it slip. She says, well, guys, we weren't supposed to be in the truck when it happened, letting everyone know all of a sudden that she knew that the thing was going to get towed because she's the one who called it together. She teamed up with City College to maybe transfer by selling out Greendale.
Which,
How
what
do you
the
feel
hell,
about
Annie?
that? How do you
I
feel
think
about
that's
this plot
so
development?
shitty.
How do you feel about it as a plot development? Do you think it's a stretch or do you think it works?
It works, but I don't like that it works because Annie is always getting ready to leave Greendale. This is the second time already in the span of 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked before that like that comes up, and I know it's not my favorite thing. I don't think you're terribly in love with it either from what I remember, but yeah, I don't like it because I feel like Annie is always like so loyal to the group and their friendships and all that stuff, but at the same time, like in the same breath that she was like defending Greendale and saying that it's great, she also is like, but I want to go to City College where you guys won't shit on that school, or I don't know.
Yeah, I do like the little speech that Annie gives where she goes from, I respect you guys enough to let you hate yourself, but I respect myself enough to not let you guys trash my school. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like where she's getting at, even if it's kind of a lame hill to die on.
Yeah, it is a lame hill to die on.
Everyone pauses to get that. Shirley says, I'm not buying it, and Troy grabs some stuff and says, let's kill her.
He immediately grabs like a cord. Yeah.
And this is also weird how this turns Jeff. He's like, wait, City College is behind this? And they say, yeah. And all of a sudden, Jeff is in to work. I think that happens a little too fast.
Yeah, I agree. Britta's like, what the hell's going on?
And it's because he feels like they've earned the right to pick on Greendale because they go to Greendale, but they can't let other people pick on Greendale. I guess this mostly I think this mostly reads as he's doing this for Annie, to get Annie to stay.
Maybe. I kind of agree with that, though, because, like, I would absolutely shit on just about every school that I attended. But, like, if somebody else from a rival school said that, I'd be like, hey, you rat
my
bastard.
school's bad because it's bad to me. You don't know shit about it.
You don't go
to my
here.
School. Yeah.
You piece of shit. Like, it's better than your ass backwards,
There is a very classic Community line here where Jeff says, our school may be a toilet, but it's our toilet, and no one's allowed to crap in it but us. And it works for everyone. They think it's inspiring. And Annie's like, really? That's what got you? Jeff gives Troy the nod and the calling of captain that he needs to make him feel better about himself, to feel motivated again. Everyone goes into their stations. They're all feeling so serious about this. It's time to win. It's time to bring this girl home. And it's really silly, and how serious they take it makes it just all the sillier. The thermal shield. I love this sequence. Thermal shield on. Navigation 3. Chicken. Yeah. And I love the way Joel so enthusiastically says, yeah, to the chicken. That's going to be me in a couple hours with some fried chicken in front of me. I promise you that. It's supper time. I love the graphics that they have in this scene to make it look good. They've done so well. They're all at their stations just doing a little tweak of their joysticks while Troy does a shake of his. Yeah. And I love so very, very much that they build this scene up so much, how they have to get together, how there's all this conflict. There's really epic music from Ludwig going on in this one, as music that treats it like it's scoring Apollo 13 and not this episode of Community. And then it lasts 3 seconds of the stuff that they have to do to make it work. And then the music stops and there's a really quiet pause. And then on the video screen, there's those little fireworks. And it's super anticlimactic for how much they built it up. Yeah. It's like when you're playing a Super Nintendo game for 14 hours. And then in the end of the game, after you beat the hardest boss you've ever played, it's like the end.
You win. Yeah. Literally. You win.
You're like, that's all I get after playing this for so long? That's exactly what this moment is. Sanders comes on to congratulate them and announces that he's lifting up the window so they'll all be able to see outside. And now we cut back to Greendale, where Abed is getting confirmation that Kentucky 11 is coming through with their location. They look out the window, and I'll be honest, every time I've ever seen this episode, this shot really threw me off. Because when you see the circle of the empty plane and the cow, it doesn't look like that's outside of the window. It looks like that's another like sticker. It looks like it's like a screensaver. So I thought it was like a projected area from the simulation or whatever, but it's not that. It's just less than stellar green screen work.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that all of the innards of the truck were not filmed inside of a truck. This was on a studio stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that shot always made me feel a little bit weird. But they're able to let them know that they are in cold water, which is exciting to know the location, but disheartening when they realize that it's quite a bit farther than what they would like. They're out of town. They're next to the truck stop with 3 thumbs. Not thumbs. And the way Dean Pelton, like, says it, is ashamed of it, but, like, says it when he didn't have to say it.
Yep.
Like, he knows what he's saying and doing. The people on board the ship are anxiously awaiting approval, but they have to tell them that it's too late. They're not going to get there back in time, and it's all been for nothing. Except they're still stranded in the middle of nowhere in this vehicle in a cow field.
Also, like, that must not have been an officially sanctioned tow truck to just, like, take them out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, sure. Or I think maybe City College, like, paid a dude and was like, take this to the middle of nowhere. Yeah. The gang is inside, reflecting on their mortality and on their defeat. Pierce is still locked up in the cage in the back. They know they'll get saved eventually, but they feel really down. Troy says he misses Greendale. And now they get to look back and say positively, like, come on, yeah, we made a joke butthole flag, but how many schools would actually let that flag fly? And I really like that sentiment. That's a very Greendale sentiment. And that's why we as a podcast and so many people as a fandom wave that butthole flag as high as we can.
So proud.
Yeah. I'm so brown.
Oh.
In a butthole way, not in a racial way.
well, you know.
Pierce Hawthorne.
That makes...
At Greendale, they point out how many schools would let you get a degree in theoretical phys ed. They apologize to Annie, or Shirley apologizes to Annie, and that situation kind of goes away. That is one thing I'll say about this episode, is any of the threads that they try to pull that aren't space-related don't not work, but don't hold. You know what I mean?
Well.
Like, it's hard to do something like this and then try to weave an emotional storyline out of it. So it doesn't, like, ring false to me, but it doesn't get me feeling much of a way as we're kind of getting the end of episode, them all being friends again, you know?
Yeah.
Apologizing for tattling about the butthole flag, you know, Jeff taking responsibility for calling it out. But it's funny that the only reason Jeff tattled was because the dean didn't get it, and it made him so mad.
Funny.
So he's like, you know, it's a butthole. Yeah, I think that's pretty funny. That's very Jeff and very Dean. It says E plur of his anus. Troy says we should have. I love the line. We should have put cheeks on it. There's a time and a place for subtlety, and that was before Scary Movie.
That was a great line.
This is when we get one of my favorite funny moments when Pierce really calmly and cautiously tells the group that, you know, he's feeling better. Being in a small place like that, he's able to work through some stuff. He feels ready to come out, and everyone in the group feels like it's time. Even Troy, who he choked, feel better. They let Pierce out. He's being a real man about it. The music playing is triumphant. Then he immediately charges to kill the screen, the LCD screen, and rips it off the wall. Chevy does a really good job of that turn. Yeah, I'll kill you. It's similar to just from a couple weeks ago from Accounting for Lawyers when he's like, you're bald. I'll kill you. He's able to do that turn instant from sincere to mad in a moment, and it's really good. It's really great. He pulls the thing off the screen. He pulls the screen off, and he stomps it down. He calls out his daddy issues at it. And this actually helps, though, because they realize that leaves a hole through to the driver's seat of the Winnebago.
Which can't be
cool,
safe.
Huh? No, it can't be safe, but it is a cool way to think them out of this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Back at Greendale, Chang comes in to announce that the press is here. They bought some times with these KFC sandwiches, the Double-licious, which, I don't know if I want fried chicken or a fried chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Probably fried chicken.
That's fair.
I usually want fried chicken, but occasionally a sandwich sounds good. What do you say?
I'm feeling maybe a fried chicken sandwich, but I also really could just go for some fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's a tough call. I do not know which side of the fence I'm going to land on.
There. The press is there. They're holding off as long as they can. They do some shameless product placement. They said on the commentary that sandwich joke was pretty much the only thing that KFC asked for. They were like, show off this new sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So that's whatever.
Yeah.
The dean is ready to accept his defeat, face the press, tell them that they're not going to make it in time. And yes, Dean Spreck shows up. I have to say that not so much in this scene, but in the final scene, I wasn't that impressed with the acting chops on the actor who plays Dean Spreck. I'm not sure what his name is. But this scene sure is funny. He's there to throw some threats at Greendale and make the dean cackle, make the dean shake in his boots. And he just walks closer and closer. And I like how even right away they paint Dean Spreck with the same type of weird sexual ambiguity that the dean has. He's wearing the same type of clothes. He's got a really kind of weird tie on.
Mm-hmm. It's really suspiciously thin.
Yeah, he gets right in the dean's face and whispers about how bad it'll be for him if this doesn't happen for the dean. And the dean's reaction to Dean Spreck is very funny. You know, the Dean Spreck is right on his ear whispering directly into it. And Dean Pelton just has his mouth open and reacting accordingly. Do you think these people are former lovers?
I think so. I think what that tells me is that maybe they had an encounter in the past and it didn't end well.
How many thumbs do you think that got?
Ooh, I think that depends on the perspective. I think maybe Dean Pelton would give it a few more thumbs than Dean Spreck would.
So you don't think that Dean Pelton is a generous lover?
I mean, maybe he was young then. Time has passed.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's definitely been a lot of time since this interaction.
Immediately, Jeff comes on over the speaker, says Greendale, come in Greendale, and they're going to make it. They can call off the rescue. They don't have to be towed back because they've gotten into the driver's seat, and they're driving the Winnebago back. It's going to happen. They're going to make it. There's a pretty cool shot of them driving down a dirt road with the sun in the background. I always love when it's daytime and you can see the sun a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
Good vibes. The Winnebago is driving as fast as it can to try to get back to Greendale. They're coming in for the save. This shot all looks very fake and very digitally produced, but they did a good job. It looks good.
It's fun. Yeah.
Now we're at the launch, and it's so funny how many goddamn people there are. There's so many press. There are so many just civilians here that are so excited for this technology that, let's not forget, that was something that all of these 30-somethings or 20-somethings did in high school and middle school and grade school as a field trip. It's not new.
It's not that exciting.
Jeff is the only person with cell signal and it's light, so he gives Abed information on where they are, and Abed gives them information on where to go, and then they yell it out to Annie on where to drive. This part's pretty funny. How they take these really hard turns in this ridiculous car. That sets up a moment where first, I'll let you talk about this. What happens?
Okay, so she takes a hard left turn, which causes Jeff to crash into a wall and Pierce to kind of land on top of him. But also, Troy gets knocked back with Britta landing on top of him in kind of a, romantic comedy. We fell down and I landed on top of you and now we're face-to-face situation, which is really funny because Britta's kind of like, oh, hi. And Troy's like, hi. But then immediately after, it goes to Pierce and Jeff, and Pierce in Jeff's face is like, Oh, hi.
It's great. And this is apparently mimicking Armageddon is the movie, I guess, where something almost exactly like this happens. But it's a funny moment that hints a little bit towards something I know Steven is excited to revisit.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
The Dean's getting ready for the press meeting as Spreck is just letting him know that it's never going to happen. It's going to look terrible. They might as well be on a simulation of the moon because they're never going to make it. And the Dean, as soon as he's about to tell off Spreck, the bus comes triumphantly driving down the sidewalk to the area where the event is. It's a triumphant moment. It's very exciting. Everyone's very happy. It almost narrowly hits a person, but it doesn't. We're all good.
Yeah, she was real close to taking that guy out.
Triumphant with the Colonel well and beautifully on display. Fangirls run up in slow motion to the car as the Greendale 7 exit. Greendale 6, I guess, because Abed's not there. One by one, they leave. Pierce Mad comes out looking, just screaming, and his clothes all torn up and dirty, and he just runs off into nowhere. But everyone else gets a triumphant exit as they're treated like heroes and dubbed the fabulous Greendale Greensternauts. It's a funny moment that really does feel like the end of a space movie as we see these shots of each of them going off. I think, you know what I just noticed? That I think has to be subtext for movies like this.
The black family that's out there cheering?
As Troy came out of the vehicle, there's a black man and his son with his son on his shoulders, and it's like a moment from the movie where it's like, one day you can do this too.
That's
like,
literally, super funny.
And if that's on purpose, which I'm almost certain that it is,
it's gotta be, right?
Genius. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Abed's also he's in the crowd giving some we did it ones. Troy's hugging random women as if they're like their wife that they've come back home to. It's very good. It's very funny. The Dean's making it about him. I picked this team. Dean Spreck approaches Annie and calls her Anne.
Yeah, who the fuck is Anne?
She's decided that this is where I thought the Dean Spreck did a bad job when he delivers this line to Anne.
Looks like you're not City College material after all.
Yeah, but Annie isn't worried about it. She's made peace with it. She's come back around on the study group in her school. She's proud to be at Greendale. And aren't we all? I sure am proud to be at Greendale.
Never been more proud than this moment, watching this fantastic group of heroes.
Troy ends up giving an interview. He finishes giving an interview to a news reporter as he and Jeff embrace in that long hug. Jeff calling him captain, telling him he did a good job. It very much feels like the end of a space movie. What can you say? It just feels like the credits are going to start rolling at any second. Jeff gives him a good report of what he thought of his captaining. Abed shows up with a cigar in his mouth celebrating. And Jeff lets Abed go inside to take a seat in the captain's chair, which is really nice of Jeff because I'm sure he's thinking, oh, it's nice of Jeff to think that Abed would be sad that he missed out on. And it's even nicer that Abed feels good about his positioning and doesn't think that anything inside would have been cooler than what he did that day, which is a nice ending to Abed's story, too.
It is.
But then it's good that he didn't go inside because then the thing literally explodes, which Abed thought was cooler. But the Dean plants the asshole flag firmly, and they're still taking it as a win for Greendale. Even though it's burning down behind him, they got it there. They got their good press. And as we zoom in directly into the butthole, that ends this classic weird as hell episode of Community. Let's talk about the SynTag. What did you think about it?
I thought it was funny. It's not my favorite one, but it's a funny one, and it's Troy and Abed doing, silly stuff. I like the bit about being like, I'm on your 6, and then he's like, I'm gonna evade some maneuvers, and Troy's like, I'm on your 6, and he's like, no, I evaded you. And then he's like, oh, well then I'm on your 12.
That means I'm on your 6. Good.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's funny. I like that there's it's them floating around in cardboard spaceships. I like that there's like actual special effects behind them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of nail a little bit what it feels like to play games when you're a kid.
Oh, absolutely. You're just playing pretend. You're like, oh, well, actually, this is what that means that I did. And you're like, okay, I'll adapt.
Yeah, exactly. I like Troy's red Solo Cup ears. It's pretty cool. It's not exactly the funniest, but it's certainly imaginative, and it's always fun to see Troy and Abed joke around, and it's a good in tag for this type of episode.
Yeah, and it's totally believable that after this, Troy or Abed would want to make a movie like this with Troy, immediately after their space adventure. He's like, oh, I can do that.
And I like then at the end when it shows the title card, it doesn't say Spaceships, a Troy and Abed film. It says a Troy and Abed thing.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast basically is. People
right? It's a thing.
I describe it to people. It's kind of a Zach and Steven thing.
Exactly.
And that wraps up this episode of Community, and thus our community recapping for the year of 2020. What did you think about this episode now that we've gone all the way through it again? I think it holds up super well. I think it's a standout for sure.
Definitely. I think it's for sure my favorite episode this season so far. And up there with my favorites from season 1, easily. So I'm excited to, continue with this season, but as of right now, the bar is set pretty high.
I agree. This does set the bar pretty high, and it's comforting to know that this season smashes that bar out of the water with future episodes. Let's talk about our MVPs. Who did you go with this week, Steven?
Okay, so the first 2 times, because we watched the episode 3 times before we record. The first 2 times I had Abed as my MVP. I thought that he was just great, so he's my honorable mention. But I switched after the final watch to Troy because I think that he just was so great in this episode. Every single line he delivers, even the ones that are as little as when Annie's like, "We can't be in this ship," and he's like, "Then get out." Like everything he does was just so perfect this episode, and he's the captain, so he gets my MVP this week.
I'm gonna give mine. Well, first I'll mention some honorable mentions. I'll give honorable mentions to Abed. I think I want to give a big honorable mention to Pierce. I think a couple more things could have given him this episode.
For sure.
Also honorable mention to Dean Pelton. That was a really great episode. But from first watch, I knew I was going to give my MVP to Troy. He is the captain of the episode. He's got the funniest lines, and he's got that nice little captain thread throughout it that's just solid.
Absolutely.
Solid. Well, to wrap things up this week, before we leave for the year, I've been thinking so much about fast food throughout this episode that I've pulled up a list of the biggest fast food chains in America, and I real quickly want us to kind of make kind of like a tier. We're going to assign each one to like a tier level.
I got you.
So S being the highest, and then A through F like letter grades, okay?
Yeah.
So first we'll open up just quick with McDonald's. What do you think of the classic McDonald's?
I give McDonald's a solid A tier for me.
I think I'd have to give it a B tier. It is really a solid, but their lack of variety is saddening sometimes.
I'll give you that. So we'll call that a cumulative a B tier because it's low A for me. So it'll be upper B.
Okay, but I could see lower A just on iconic stature alone.
Well, and for me, like if you get me 2 Big Macs with some barbecue sauce, and some McDonald's Coke or Sprite, I am a happy camper.
You are right. There are times when McDonald's is just what I want, and it really hits the spot when I want it. I recently had a McRib and a holiday pie, which
That's
I
an
enjoyed.
Interesting combination choice, but I rock with it.
Well, not at the same time. The holiday pie was after my dessert afterwards.
Oh, I just was gonna slap them together and put
from
it all
the
in
Golden
there.
Arches to the Golden Crown, the Burger King. Where would you place the Burger King? I want to say that I think the quality of Burger King's burgers is significantly higher than most other fast food chains.
I'll agree.
But almost all of their sides and other items, especially their whack-ass fries and onion rings, are trash.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge because when I think Burger King, I kind of think, oh, Burger King sucks. But their burgers are pretty good.
I think Burger King's breakfast and their burgers are really tasty, but because of the weakness in fries and nuggets, I give them a B.
But they're still B tier.
Yeah, still B tier for me.
I feel like it's borderline C, but what holds it up to B are the quality of its burgers and its affordability sometimes and the deals they have on their app for cheap food. That's going to give it a B. Next, we're going to talk about...
You ever had that cheesecake?
The like Sunday pie?
Yeah.
I think I have.
It's good.
I work for DoorDash for people that don't know about me, so I'm going to these restaurants all the time to take food to people. Mm-hmm. Next up is on the big list of biggest fast food chains in America is Subway, is number 3. Now Subway,
I will put Subway for me as a C tier. I like Subway, but I get the same thing every time.
Subway compared to other subs is like C or D quality.
Yeah,
but
it's not
Subway
good.
can taste really good sometimes, and sometimes a footlong is a good amount of food that
For
really fills you up,
$5-ish.
and they've got some good stuff. But that's not quite the case. It's almost never $5 anymore. It's usually like $7 or $8 for a footlong. Their cookies are good, but they don't have much outside of the couple staples, so I would say C tier.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, let's talk about Wendy's. I really like Wendy's.
I'm
The
a big
older I
Wendy's
get,
guy.
The more I like Wendy's, I think like Burger King, their burgers are significantly better than the majority of other people's burgers. I
Yeah.
think their fries are underrated. I think their
Those
fries are
sea
pretty
salt
good.
fries, they're good.
All the different special varieties of fries they have sometimes. Like right now, they've got the bacon pub fries with beer cheese. Those are really good.
Ooh.
I would put Wendy's in the A tier.
I would put Wendy's in A as well.
In fact, I would put Wendy's, I think, in the S tier.
Wow.
Because I just thought about how good their spicy chicken sandwiches are. You know, they've got Frosties. They've even got good salads. They've got good chili.
Here's what I'll say keeps them out of S tier for me.
Okay.
I think Wendy's has the best like fast food like of the big guys, chicken sandwiches. They have great nuggets, great fries, great like lemonade. The Frosty is iconic. It's fantastic.
Sure.
But I'm not huge on their beef burgers. I think they're pretty thin for me.
Sure. Number 5, we'll go through like the 10 of these. Number 5
Okay.
is Taco Bell, which I'll just go ahead and say it. It defies all odds, and it should be bad, but it's absolutely S tier.
Oh, absolutely S tier without hesitation. Even though they're removing a bunch of stuff from the
Who cares? It's
who cares? Still Taco Bell.
Now, here's the thing. The older I get, the less often I crave Taco Bell. But there are nights when, like, it's a Taco Bell night, and the craving boxes being $5, often coming with 3 items, a side and a drink, sometimes more, sometimes less, but bigger stuff. It's so good. It's S tier. What's your favorite item at the Taco Bell that they still have readily available?
They don't have the quesarito anymore, do they?
You can order it online, but you can't order it in the store, at least
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Quesarito is my
Quesaritos were
favorite
what's up.
thing. Other than that, I've been really liking lately the like whatever chalupa thing has been pretty prominently advertised there. It's pretty good.
The toasted cheddar?
Maybe. Yeah.
I usually go for whatever the $5 box is, and I'll try their new thing, get a taco, but a soft taco supreme instead of a
Exactly.
crunchy taco.
Thank you. That is how you do it.
And yeah, okay.
know what's
Taco
up.
Bell sauces. What sauce do you use? I really
Diablo
love
and
Diablo
Fire.
sauce. Diablo
Yeah.
sauce is tasty. I think the rest of them are fine, but don't taste like much. Number 6 on this list is the Colonel, the man of the hour themselves, KFC. I would probably say KFC is, I don't know, it's really dependable, but it's not a go-to. But there's nothing really wrong with it, so I want to give it low B tier.
It's C tier for me. Because I think
could
there
see
are
that.
other
I would
better
be okay
chicken
with saying
options.
C tier, sure.
But I can see why it would be B.
Speaking of potentially better chicken options, next on the list is Chick-fil-A. I would put Chick-fil-A low C tier. And I know
would probably go C or B. I'm not crazy about Chick-fil-A either.
I know that's unpopular. We've talked about this recently. I think their fries are really good. I think their nuggets and sandwiches are good. They're fine, but I am not always a chicken guy, and other places have chicken options that I like better.
Yeah.
So it's a C tier for me. And it's
I think
expensive.
Chick-fil-A's
I don't think
strength
it's worth
is
the
in
money either.
It's way too expensive. I think their strength's in their fries and in their sauces.
The dipping sauces
for
are
me.
good. Next up on the list of fast food chains is my former employer, Starbucks.
Okay, I'd give Starbucks a solid B tier.
Starbucks gets a B tier because of its coffee and drinks. The food is nothing to shake at, but
They every once in a while have a really good
it's
thing,
tasty, but it's
too expensive.
very expensive.
Yeah. That Reuben that they had for a while, or the pork belly sandwich, oh my god.
Sure. Rounding up the top 10, we've got 2 more. Number 9 is Dunkin'.
Oh, I like Dunkin' Donuts quite a bit, and I like their breakfast sandwiches. I would give Dunkin' a high B tier.
I would give it a mid B tier. I like its food the same as Starbucks. They have more stuff, actually, and it's a lot cheaper. I don't like their
Yeah.
coffee drinks as much as Starbucks, but they have some pretty good stuff there, too.
Yeah,
So
I
would-
only ever
I
get
would
their
easily
cold.
give it
They're
B
like
tier.
ice. I normally get a ice black coffee, so for me, as long as that's solid, I'm good. They make it a little sweet sometimes, but yeah.
I want to close it out with the top 10. The last one that we've got is Pizza Hut, which is D tier for me.
I give Pizza Hut a C tier because I am the least picky pizza eater in the world, but I like Pizza Hut's wings.
I'm not that picky about pizza, and Pizza Hut is one of the ones that I just don't like. Their crust is so cardboardy to me. Their slab of breadstick is really off-putting to me.
That's fair.
I do from time to time like the Pizza Hut buffet that they had at that one in our hometown, like the apple cinnamon dessert pizza they had, or like their wings are good.
Yeah,
or
I like
sometimes
their wings.
Sometimes they have really weird pizzas, like hot dog crust pizza or like grilled cheese, like all kinds of types of crust. That's kind of interesting. But I think Pizza Hut is about the piss poorest of pizzas I've ever had.
Yeah, I much
probably.
prefer Little
I have to
Caesars
give it a
probably
D.
to Pizza Hut in general.
So what? To close out this episode that's taken a food detour, what fast food places? That was the top 10 in America. What surprises you that's not there, or like what in your heart should be in the top
I think
10?
Hardee's deserves to be there in terms
I
of quality.
disagree. C tier.
See, I've got Hardee's as like a B plus A tier.
C tier. They got good burger. It's kind of similar to the Burger King conundrum for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm surprised White Castle wasn't on there.
I think White Castle's a dying brand, and it's only
Breaks my
in
heart.
certain areas of the country. I think it's a Midwest thing. White Castle.
Really? Because
Other
White
parts of
Castle
the
is
country
F
have
tier,
Crystal.
but like it's also A tier. So like
No, White Castle is S tier, but it's also we're the only people in the country who think.
Yeah.
Crystal, on the other hand, is F tier.
Crystal.
It's where people don't have White Castle; they have Crystal, and Lily
You know
and
what?
I got them in Florida, and they were
I
really
got
gross.
you. You know what I will give some props to is
Okay.
Rallies / Checkers. It's very like low.
B, high C probably for me.
I think that they're my favorite fast food fries.
Their
One of
fries
my
are
favorite
delicious.
fast food burgers, and they have decent shakes, and it's all pretty cheap if you know what you're doing.
I agree. They do have some good cheap stuff. I also have as an adult, as a man with refined taste, I tend to like Arby's more than I liked it when I was a kid.
See,
It's
Arby's is F for me. I hate Arby's.
It's B tier for me. I think I think they have the best fast food fries, and I like the variety of sandwiches. I like Arby's. It's very expensive, and their shakes are unparalleled.
Maybe I'll give it another shot.
And
Arby's to me was
Jamaica
always
shake?
my very much least favorite. I thought that everything didn't have any flavor to it whatsoever.
Well, that's enough of that. I thought that was kind of fun. I really want to get some fried chicken. I hope you guys had fun this week discussing. If you thought anything about any of that, why don't you send it our way? And we will be talking to you guys next week about Messianic myths and ancient peoples. Send in your trivia and your MVP and your funniest moments to can'tdisappointpodcast@gmail.com. Steven, what else do you have to say to the people who spend their time with us chatting about fast food this week?
Thank you so much for listening in. It's been, not quite a whole calendar year of us doing this, but this is the end of the first calendar year in which we have existed on this plane. So thank you to everybody who's been with us from the beginning, who's just joining us. You're all special in your very own way.
I agree. And Steven, you've got to be just about the most special of them all. I'm glad to have you along for this
What
ride
my mom
every
told
week.
me growing up.
It's been a lot of fun. It was a great episode of Community, and I think it's time to wrap things up.
What a way to close the year.
From Inside the Dreamatorium, I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We'll see you guys next week. Let's play a song now.
Bye, guys. Chicken, 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 chicken. Is that the song?
Next week on You Can't Disappoint a Podcast.
Did you see me on The Rookie with Nathan Fillion?
I can't say that I watched The Rookie.
That's a good joke.
Steven, it's Joel McHale. Tell him yes, you absolutely watched it.
Every episode with you in it especially, Joel.
What's your favorite episode specifically and what I did and exactly what I did?
It's the one, where he's
You were
riding around
sarcastic,
in the
right?
car.
I was sarcastic.
And then they pull up and he's like, hey, it's my first year on the job. I'm a rookie.
All right, yeah, you
what
did
can
it.
You do
That's
for
it.
me?
That's it. He nailed it. That's it. Well done, Steven.
Thank you.
I like that.